Okay, I just got a notification on S.
All right, that's great. All right, so welcome to the stream. Um, this is part two of building your own static site generator with JavaScript. It's a beginner session. Um, so if you're intermediate and advanced with JavaScript, you won't get much use out of this. This is really for people who are starting out. Um, and so what we did on our last session, episode one, was create a very basic HTTP server which just served up a page. And today we're going to add MIME types to that, which allows us to tell the web browser what kind of content is about to come across, so the browser knows how to handle it. Now, it used to be that when you served content without a MIME type, like a video, it would not play. Now, I don't know if that's still true, so we'll have to find out. Um,
Okay.
so I got Ruben helping me again today. Thanks, Ruben.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and Ruben is just beginning with JavaScript. He's been doing it for a little while, so he's got some familiarity. So let's just jump in. Do you want to pop open your terminal and VS Code and
Yeah.
bring up the file that we had before, and we'll get going from there.
Okay. Should I share my screen?
Yeah, please. All right. So if you make that big, and if you would Control Shift plus plus, so we can make this a little bit more readable. Perfect.
Mhm.
If you close that code window real quick and you go back into the terminal and you do code space dot. Oh, and you'll need to go into the directory that had your files.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. So we're also going to be learning to use the terminal along the way, and we're using Linux here.
Okay.
So then code dot, put a space between those two, between the E and the dot. Yeah, there you go. And then hit enter. All right. So here's where we were before. You've got your test.js there on the left, and which was the original file we ran. Then you've got your HTML file. If you click on that, it's just the heading that we had going, which was it worked. And then in the server, if you jump back to server.js, we got this very simple script, which is just serving the file really regardless of what the URL is. So we're going to do a little bit of work here and make it so you're only serving the file that the user's requesting, because you could put anything in your browser right now and it would always serve test.html. So let's go ahead and do that to start. And actually, before you do, if you go to your browser and just serve the test.html, and obviously you have to go to your terminal as well, but I think what we should do now...
To my browser.
Yeah, but before you go to your browser, you see the terminal menu bar thing at the top here, so around there. Well, I want you to run it from VS Code this time.
Okay.
Yeah, so last time we were using the terminal, now from Linux, now we're going to use the terminal from VS Code. There you go, perfect. So now, if we do node server.js, space, always a space after the word node. And you can just type se tab. Oh, will that work in VS Code? Let's give it a try. Go back a little bit. Yeah, space, se tab. Yep, perfect. Now, the other thing is you can also just run it with server. You don't have to put the JS on the end as well. So try that here. So if you just remove the .js and then hit enter. There you go. It's running. So now if you uh, hold down Control and then click on the link there. Yep, you got it. It worked. All right. Now in the browser here, if you hold down, or if you, hold down Control and Shift and then tap the I key. Yeah, you got it. And then if you come down to the lower window here, the developer options, and while you're hovering over this section, do Control Shift plus plus again. We're just going to make it easy to read for people who might have lower vision. Yep, that looks good. Now, let's see. Go to the network tab. And if you refresh, that's great. Now, where you have localhost here, if you click down below on that little word localhost, yep, you can see the response, which is the data that was sent across to the browser from the server. But if you go to the left and you click on the headers tab, yeah, you see the status code is 200, which means everything went well. You can see the request URL that you made. And let's see, I'm looking for content type. If you go up halfway to the screen where if you drag this whole bottom section up so we can see more. There you go. Yep. Now, in this response headers section, you should see content type. You should always be serving stuff with a content type. So we're going to go and fix that. But before we do, we're going to fix the URL thing. So if you type in / at the top of this address bar at the top of your browser here, and then give it / and then just put in a bunch of random characters. Yeah, exactly. And then hit enter. You'll see it's still coming back as if it worked. And so your browser, if you see below, is interpreting the request URL that you sent, which is RDIW 77640, etc. And so it thinks that's the file you're sending it, basically. So that tells you something about when you're hitting things with the browser, what's going on in the server in the background is different. So you've got a lot of flexibility back there to serve things, and you can kind of play tricks on the browser, which is really useful. They're not really tricks, it's just what's going on in server land and what's going on in browser land is very different. So let's go back into VS Code and fix this URL thing. So we only want to be able to see the things that we're looking for in the browser. Yep. So if you drag that down, that terminal window to the bottom, yeah, that's great. That's good. You probably want to pop it up a little bit more than that because we're going to be using it. Yeah, that's good. Okay, great. So, all right, you see where it says on line 9, console log request.url?
Yeah.
We're going to come under that line. And we are going to... Actually, what's the best way to do this? For now, what we'll do is we'll actually go onto line 11. So where you see read file sync, and then it says test.html, I want you to change the quotes around this test.html, but I want you to use the, it's called a backtick, and the backtick, it's on a key that, or usually, I'm not sure where you are, but it's on a key that has the tilde Do you remember the tilde key? Might be a while since you've used it. But anyway,
Is it this? Sit down.
yes, that's the tilde key. Awesome. So if you hold shift and press tilde, you should get the backtick. Was that with shift? Oh, there you go. You got it. So remove the tilde and then use that backtick at the start of the string. Yeah, you got it. Perfect. Oh, yeah. It's just going to fill it for you. So just remove the second one there. Oh, your streamer's locked up. Okay, we're just going to wait for a minute here. Looks like Ruben's stream is locked up. Hopefully he'll be back in a minute. But what we're going to do is we're going to use... You can add these... using backticks gives you the ability to mix variables and pieces of string together. And you can use a $sign with a curly brace to put those in. Let's see. I'm just going to see if I can figure out what's going on. We might pause for a few minutes here, but we'll keep the stream running. And Ruben should be back in a minute. Where Ruben lives, electricity works differently, and sometimes it just drops. And then you have to turn the generator on. So I imagine he might be doing that right now.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, you're
Okay, I'm
back. Great. Good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think my internet glitched.
Yeah. No worries. If you share your screen again, we'll just jump right back in.
Okay.
Okay. Great. So you've got the backticks around your string. That allows us to mix pieces of string and mix them up with variables. So remove test.html because we're going to make this dynamic. But leave the dot slash. Yeah, you got it. So now if you write $, which should be shift 4. Oh, you got it. Then open a curly brace. No, that's a round parens. So the curly brace is, yep, that's it. So now if you write request.url, very good, and then save that. And then if you go down below to your terminal there, and then Control C, and then up and enter. Okay, you're running. So jump back into your browser. Okay. Now let's open. Actually, if you go back to the previous window you had running, which is localhost. Yeah, that's it. Now refresh in this one. Okay, so you're getting this failed message. Jump back to VS Code and look in your terminal, and we'll just have a look at how this comes out on the browser side. So make this window big.
The terminal window.
Yes. Go, bring it right up to the top. We just want to see everything here. So you can see it's throwing this error, illegal operation on a directory. Keep going down, because we're going to look for there'll be another one underneath this. There should be. Oh, there isn't. Okay, never mind. Oh, because the server quit as soon as it ran into the error. Okay. So we're going to run the server again. So if you hit up in the terminal there and enter, and then you go back to the browser. But when you go back to the browser, don't click on the link every time. I want you to use the same window because we have the JavaScript developer console open. So if you go back to the local host, is it
I
running?
want to do it again.
Yeah. That's it. So if you go back to there, perfect. Now, okay. Don't do that. It's all good. Go back and start your server again, but next time you come back to the browser, don't do anything.
Okay.
All right, so hit up. Yep, enter. Got it. There you go. All right, so now don't touch anything. All right, here we go. So if you near where your mouse is now, there's a little no entry sign. You see that? Oh. If you get to the top left of the JavaScript developer window, so kind of like up here.
Okay. This place?
Yeah, you got it. So hit that. Okay. Now check if your server is still running in VS Code. VS Code.
Okay. No?
Yeah. So hit up and enter again. Yep. Now jump back to the browser. Now, where it says where you've put your
Look at it is running.
it's refreshing itself. Is it refreshing itself or are you clicking?
I didn't click anything. Maybe it's refreshing itself.
Yeah, I think it is. A sneaky browser. Okay, so if you double click on that, if you click on the text up there in the address bar and you replace that with test, T-E-S-T, .html, hit enter, and then go back into VS Code, restart your server, and then come back into the browser. Yep. Back into the browser, and now try refresh. Great. So now jump back into VS Code and see what it says. So do you know what's happened here?
No?
If you read the error output, you see it's looking for something and it can't find it.
Is this server request listener?
Yep. It's if you look in the path variable there, it says it's looking for favicon.icon.
Yeah.
So it's doing the same thing. It's trying to load that file, but the file doesn't exist there, and so it's just crashing out. So we're going to put a little bit of error handling in here. Where it says const HTML. If you go to the end of line 11 and hit enter to start a new line. Yep. Now type if HTML. So if space open parens. Excuse me. Yep. HTML. Then after this, curly braces. Outside of, do the curly braces after the round parens. Yep, that's it. Hit enter. And I want you to select the response.end.html.
Did I type it?
You can type it if you want, but it's the line that's below is already there, so you can cut and paste it if you want to be quicker.
Okay. Select.
No, it's response. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. Dot end. Open parens. The round parens. Should be shift 9. You got it. Then HTML. And you see the line below, it's the same as that one. So if you get rid of the second one. I know some things get lost in translation a bit because, our accents are very different, but it's all good.
Okay.
All right, so if you save that, yeah, you got it. And we'll do... So after this parens, after the close of the curly parens, click there.
Line 30.
One line down.
Mm-hmm.
Then type in else, E-L-S-E. Excuse me. Yep. And then open another curly parens. Curly parens. Or curly brackets. That's probably an easier way to say it. Apologies. So if you hit enter and come down, and now we're going to do response dot write WRITE. Oh, WRIGHT, my bad. And then head, but with a capital H. Yep.
What will I spell?
HEAD. And then open a round parens. And then type in 400. All right, so let's... Oh. It is WRITE. I don't know what's wrong with my brain today.
WRIT.
Yeah. You got it. That's good. Now save that.
So,
Yep.
okay, so what have we done here now?
Yeah, good question. All right, so what we're doing is we're saying if something came back into the HTML and there was no error, the HTML will just be a string.
Okay.
It's always going to be a string, actually, because we've stringified it there. So we're going to want to change this. So where you see... I'll get back to your question in a minute, but let's just fix this real quickly first. So where you see string in the line above, remove the outmost parens in the word string.
This place?
Yep. So if you remove that...
What do you search? Which word? The const.html.
Remove it from the S of the string all the way to the parens. So just cut that bit out.
Okay.
No. From the start of the S of the word string to the parens, to the open parens. No. Just the open. bit. You're going to want to leave fs read file sync.
Okay.
That's it. So plus and the parens too, and just get rid of those. Yeah. Now get rid of the outer parens. Yep. And parens is just short for parenthesis. All right. So now what will happen is, if there's no file there, if it has an error, well, I suppose it will still just throw an error and it will close. But we're getting closer. If there's something in the HTML, we're going to send the HTML, but let's add the HTML into a string on line 13. So in between the parens and the HTML, if you click there, line 13, and go one over to the right. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And then capital S string. And then open parens, the round one. Yep. And then you'll have to add a close parens on the end. At the very end of the line. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to, if it should still throw an error because it's going to look for favicon, and typically when an error is thrown and you don't catch it, the program will just halt or it will stop. So save this and let's try that. So if you come down here, yep, and then back into the browser, refresh. All right, so it worked. We got the favicon. I expect it will have still stopped, but let's go have a look in VS Code. Great. Yep, so it's still stopped. So it's throwing an error, so we want to catch that error. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but I think the best thing to do is inside of, well, what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking line 11 and we're going to remove everything before fs. Yeah. Including, yeah, the equal sign. Now, we're going to send a callback to this read file sync request. If you bring it back to where it was just now, we're going to have it. There we go. Just to keep it clean. So if you go to the rightmost parens on this line, so if you go to the end of the line, and you go left one, left. So if you go to before the parens on the end of the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you type comma. I can tell we have a little bit of delay between our streams. Now you type, I think, let's have a quick look on the node pages. So I'm going to do node.js read file sync. I think it's the response and then the error. Let's have a look here. Read file sync, path options. Error, oh, it's error and then data. Now, let me share my screen with you real quick so you can see what I'm seeing.
Okay.
So I'm just looking up some of the documentation on Node.js. So this is the documentation for read file sync.
Have you shared the screen?
Yeah, I've shared it. Can you not see it?
Okay, I'm coming. Okay, I can see it now.
Okay, good. So we're just looking at documentation for real read file sync here, and we can see um, read file is a callback, and I'm assuming read file sync works the same way. It's been a while since I've done all this stuff, just in case people are wondering. Um, and then you have the comma which we've just put in, and we can write a function like this with error and data. So I'm just going to copy and paste this into your window here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So there you've got the comma and the function, the error and the data. So if you copy that and you share your screen and you go back to Visual Studio Code.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet. I'm sure it will come up in a second. Now I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
If you click hide there, just to get that message out. There you go. Thanks.
Where will I put it? On line 9?
Where you put the comma before the parens, if you just delete that comma
Okay.
and then you just paste your stuff in there.
Should I paste it here?
Yep. Good, good. Now you can get rid of that extra parens at the end there. You see it was red, it's telling you it was an error. Now what I want you to do is to go down a little bit, and where you have the if HTML stuff, just comment that out for a second. Just that whole block there from line 20 to line 24. If you, and let me show you a quicker way to do this. If you remove the two slashes there, select that entire block with your mouse, and now hit Control /, which is the same as the question mark key. Yep, there you go. Just hit it once. Control /. There you go. Now save it. That's a much quicker way of commenting out, whole blocks of code. Okay, so save that. Run it again. Yep. And jump back into your browser. Let's see what happens now.
Should I refresh?
Yep. Okay, you see it's pending because we're not sending anything back now. But if you go back into the... Yeah, you got it. Alright, so... maybe we don't get the callbacks in read file sync. I'm just going to have a quick check here. Just looking through to see if I can... Looking through to see if I can find error handling. Maybe it does work differently from just read file. Yeah. So we're going to use read file then. Let's do that. So if you go back up a little bit.
To line what?
To line 11. Change this to just remove the sync. Yeah. And then restart your server. Yep. And then try that in your browser. And it's pending again, which it should be because we haven't sent anything back. So if you go back into your terminal. All right, good. So now you're getting a buffer. That's just kind of the binary content of the file because we haven't turned it into a string. If you go back into your browser and you give a crazy file name again, just something random. You'll want to do it on the end. Yeah, so press escape. Yep. Then
Slash.
Yeah, we'll go back, remove the test.html and just type in gibberish. Just random. Yeah, there you go. And hit enter. And now let's go back to the terminal and see what we got. And now you see that it's given us the arrow. But the difference here is that the server hasn't quit on you because you've caught the error. So you've grabbed the error object and you're doing something with it. So under console log.error, do response.writeHead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Line 15.
Yep. So new line under there. Tab over. You're going to need to tab over because it doesn't have the curly braces. But yeah, response.writeHead again.
Don't write. Read file.
WRITE.
Okay.
Then head with capital H, HEAD. Then open round parenthesis. Yep. And then 400. And this is, yeah, we'll do 400 for now. Now go to the start of the line and tab it over. Yep. So press tab. Yep. Then under this line, so if you go to the end of the line, hit enter. And then response.end. Yep. And then parens. Yep. And then we're just going to leave that blank. So let's try that. So save this, and you'll have to restart the browser with Control-C.
Okay.
Yep.
I still got 4 errors on the up. Should I go?
Yeah, go. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So we're going to need to put the curly braces around because we're using multiple lines. So in the if statement. So where it says if error, if you start a curly parens at the end of that line, so open curly parens, then delete the one that's right after it. Yep. And put it before the else. So close curly brackets. I should stop saying curly parens. It's so confusing. Yeah, you got it. And then start a new one after the else. So open curly brackets.
It's already gone. So should I still do it?
Yeah.
The error is already gone.
Yeah, because we're going to add more to that in a minute. Let's just put it around.
Okay.
Yep. So open curly brackets. Yep. Remove that guy and put one after the end of the next line. Yep.
Sorry.
Yes, perfect. So now if you save that, let's try again. All right. Yeah. Okay, good. I thought you'd already run it for a minute and it was throwing an error. Great. So let's go back and see what happens. So if you hit refresh on the browser, so top window up there, yep, then hit refresh on this crazy name, you see failed now instead of pending.
Yeah.
And the reason that you're seeing failed instead of pending is you've communicated to the browser that there's an error. So 400 codes are error codes. So 404 is when you can't find a file, which is really what this is happening here, but we're not going to add a 404 page yet. So if you click on the red line there in the network tab, let's go have a quick look. So there's no response, but if we go to the headers, let's have a quick look. And you can see 400 bad request. Well, it's technically not a bad request, but we're going to leave it just for now because we do want to get to MIME types. But let's get the right file, a file that is there, coming out in the browser. So if you go back up to the address bar in the browser and you remove that crazy file name. Yep. And then you type in index.html. Oh, sorry, test. My bad. Yep. Hit enter. Now, go to test.html in the network tab and see what it says. So down in the JavaScript developers area, here you go. In the browser,
On the vision.
not VS Code. Yeah, you
Okay.
come down. Sorry, come down there. Yeah, you got it. So you're getting nothing back. If you look at the response, there's nothing in there because we're not sending anything back. And it says this page isn't working. I just want you to see that because that's going to change next time we come to the page. And you see the spinner right at the top of the tab near the browser address. You see it spinning by the name localhost in the top tabs. So all the way at the top. Yeah, you see it.
Yeah.
So it's still trying to load that page. So let's jump back into VS Code and give this a quick fix. And right, we need to send the data back. So after the line that says console log data, start a new line. And we're going to write response dot write head. Yep. And it's going to be 200 this time. So like you've done above, but 200.
Should I put a curly braces or just 200?
Put the round parentheses, yeah, and then the 200, just like above. And then a new line. Then response.end. And then open parens. Parenthesis, yep. Then capital S and the word string. And then parens again. And the word data. All right, let's save that. And before we run it, let's just talk real quickly about what's happening. So in this, you've got the read file thing above, which is asynchronous, which means things can happen in JavaScript land before the file is read. So let's say the file was a giant file, a giant HTML file. Other things are going to happen on that computer before it's read everything and sending it back. So just to note that's happening, you'll learn about that later. But the synchronous request that we had before, read file sync, is just doing it in line and returning whatever it finds. And it stops the execution of JavaScript, so no other JavaScript can run until that file has been returned. So if you were to put that in a production application, you'd slow everything down because it's waiting every time you try and go for a file to load the whole file and so on. So this is actually one of the beautiful things about JavaScript being asynchronous. It's really nice because you can create events and it helps unfreeze things, and it's really good for building applications which are real time and peer to peer. So now you've saved this, let's go and Control C on the server and restart it and jump back into the browser again. Good. So it worked. And now if you type in a crazy name again, you would also get the error. So this is, yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay, so instead of making this about MIME types, let's just make this today about error handling, because I see we're getting close to an hour already. So let's just jump back into VS Code, and we're just going to round this out by adding a 404 message. So, you know what, actually, let me see. Yeah, we got time for that. Because what we're going to have to do here, we don't really want to send a 400. We want to send a 404, which I will share my screen real quick. So, browser status code 404, and you see this complete list of status codes. 400s for errors, problem with the request, and 500s for errors on the other end. So 404 is the not found error. And you'll be used to seeing this in various places. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So now if you were to go back to your code, right, and let's see. We're gonna do it a sneaky way here. Just usually we would do a check for the actual file on the system first, but let's just use the error code. No such file or directory. So where you've got right head, we're going to put an if around that. So if you go to the line above the right head on the error section, you're currently in the non-error section. So you're in the normal flow of the app, but if you go up, yep, hit enter here, and type if, open parentheses, yep, and then type ERR dot, then ERR no, which is the second one down. Yep. So if the error number, and then we're going to do equals equals equals, so 3 equals signs, symbols, and then -2.
A space?
Yeah, you can put a space there or not. It's up to you. So then go to the right so go to the end of the line, I mean, and then open curly brackets. Yep, hit enter. Now, if you take the line 19 and you select line 19, that's it. And then, so if you hit Control X, just remove that. Then go into the if. Now Control V. Maybe it's Control Shift V. I'm not sure. That's weird. Oh, I see what you did. So do Control Z twice, which will undo. So undo again. Control Z again. Nope. Oh, you might not be able to do it now. Control Z again. Oh yeah, there you go. You got it. Control X. Yeah, perfect. Good. All right. So change the 400 to 404. Yep. And then do after this do an else. So after the close curly parens down on the line below. So on line 18, yeah, you got it. Else, ELSE. Then open curly parens. Sorry, curly brackets, my bad.
Understand.
That's such a bad habit of mine. I really have to get that under control. All right, so hit enter here. And then do Control V again. And then change the 4 to a 5, so it's 500. And 500. I don't know. I'd have to check exactly what that code means, but we're going to use it here as a general error on the server. So, okay, save that and jump back into the browser.
I run it.
Yeah, you got it. Great. Oh, I think you started a new window there.
Yeah. So.
There you go. Jump to localhost. And yeah, refresh. And there you go. It shows you that it failed straight away. And it's saying the page can't be found. And then if you go and do test again, it will show up the page. All right. So we've added like a really basic error handling for files that can't be found. So yeah, test.html. And it finds it. Now, we're going to real quickly, just for the sake of completeness, go into your other terminal, your actual big terminal window. Yeah. And we're gonna make a copy of the test file. So cp space. CP is just short for copy space. Then type in te tab, and it should go to the dot. And now write h for HTML because that's the file we want to grab. Now tab again. Now we're gonna type index.html.
Index.
Yeah, which is INDEX. Yep. .html. Yep. Hit enter. Excuse me. Now type in code space in tab. Tab. Yep. Great. Hit enter. Good. Now change it worked to index. Great. Save that. Okay, and go into the browser after you've restarted the server. Yep. Can you hide that? Look, thank you. Great. And now type in index.html. Yeah, you can refresh too if you want, just to check this one works. Now type in index.html.
Should I remove test.html?
Yeah, remove that and type in index. Great. So good. So now you can serve multiple files. You'd be able to serve images and other things as well if you wanted to. You just have to type the file name, and away you go. But we should always serve the index file when we hit slash as well. So we're gonna go and fix that. So if you remove index.html here, and just have slash, or even remove the slash is fine too, and hit enter. Now you've got a 404 on localhost. You see that? If you want to click on it, oh, you don't have to. Because there's not going to be anything there. But if you now jump back into VS Code, we're going to add a little bit of handling in the server.js file to read file URL. Now above this fs read file line.
Line what?
So
Okay.
line 10. Yep, you got it. Now add a new line and type if open parens request.url triple equals, so equals symbols, and that means it's the same value and it's the same type, which in this case should be a string, and now quote and then forward slash, because you can see down below, if you look down below at the terminal down here, you'll see the slashes, but you're still getting an error because it's trying to read a directory as a result. So you're going to want to set you're going to want to update the URL. So just go above this if line and make a new line and type in var URL, so VAR,
Okay, wow.
yep, space URL, and then semicolon. That's it. Yeah, you got it. So then we're going to store, we don't want to update request.url because that's an object coming from the libraries in Node.js, from the modules. We want to set the URL variable ourselves. So we're creating our own variable URL. Then after the request line, if you open a curly brackets, so open curly brackets, got it. Then URL, so if you type URL equals, then quotes, then index.html, and then put an N after the I. Good. Okay, and then after the closing curly brackets, to else.
What will I type?
Else, so ELSE.
Okay.
And then open another curly brackets. Great. Then URL equals request.url. Okay, good. So what's happening here is we're creating a variable called URL because we're going to use the rest of our server to handle that variable. We're going to because we want to change it depending on what's happening. So we don't want to use request URL all the way down. So what happens is if the URL is a slash, it's going to change that slash to index.html. It's not going to change it on the browser. It's only going to serve the contents of the index up when you hit the slash, or even if you remove the slash and you just hit the domain. But we're going to need to handle that down below here. So all the places where we've written request.url below in this read file block, we're just going to remove the request dot and just use the URL instead, the URL variable. Okay. So for example, on line 18, if you go up, remove request dot. Yep. So now we're pulling from that URL variable. And yeah, I think that's the only place actually, based on what we've done. So yeah. If you save that, and restart your server again, and jump back to your browser, and refresh. And now you see you haven't typed index in at the top, but the HTTP server has still received a slash. If you jump back into VS Code and just take a quick look down there, you'll see that it's giving you the slash, right?
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. And now back to the browser again. And then we've changed the URL instead of using request URL to just URL, and we've given it index. Now you can put the slash in this address as well, and it should do the same thing. So if you type the slash in at the end, remove the test.
Index.
Remove test. No, remove it and index. Just do a slash. That's it. Yep.
So hit enter.
And now hit enter. Yeah. And it's going to give you the HTML file again.
Yeah.
And now you should be able to serve basically any file to the browser that you put in that directory. So that's good. So now we've got some file handling and a 404, and I think we've just gone over an hour. So let's call it quits there for today. I think this is a good base we can build on. So let's call this lesson the 404, and we will update the next lesson. Hopefully tomorrow we will do the MIME types and start adding some different kinds of content.
Okay.
All right. So that's it for today. So thank you, Ruben. I appreciate your help.
Thank you very much, though.
No problem. And I think, once we start getting in the flow of this, you'll start moving much faster as well. Cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Have a great day, too.
See you later.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah.